fellow Americans. Rarely does a sitting president weigh in on the opposing party's convention. But based on what happened Thursday evening, I felt compelled to speak to you and explain. During a speech of one of America's greatest actors, Clint Eastwood insinuated that he was speaking to me, sitting in a chair, next to his podium. I was not in that chair. I was here, in an undisclosed location, which I assure you was nowhere near that chair, on that stage, in Tampa, Florida. During the speech, Mr. Eastwood made it appear that the person in the chair was a buffoon, somewhat of a moron who did not have the common sense to offer a suitable argument. That person was not me. However, due to Mr. Eastwood's acting abilities, my analysts tell me that 64% of Americans now believe that he was actually speaking to me. Which I assure you he was not. My analysts tell me he was speaking to an empty chair, what actor types call improvisation, and while it was very believable, I assure you it was nothing more than acting. In fact, Mr. Eastwood has a history of convincing Americans to believe things that, in reality, are not true. He was never a gunfighter as he claimed to be. He was never a police inspector ridding the streets of crime. He was never a truck driver who traveled across America with an orangutan friend. In fact, all of these improvisations were nothing more than Mr. Eastwood duping the American people. And the same thing happened Thursday evening. I give you my word. I was not in that chair. I'd like to leave it at that, but I can't help but feel some of you voters will insist that Mr. Eastwood somehow still got the better of me. On national television. In front of an American public enjoying the back and forth. But I assure you there was no back and forth. Because I was not there, I'll admit. A lot of what Mr. Eastwood said was true. I even caught myself chuckling at some of his jabs. It's true. My administration does spend a lot of money. But because of Mr. Eastwood's antics, I believe the American taxpayers will agree that we have no choice but to spend tax dollars working on funnier and more clever bits for when our convention rolls around. And I don't know what those bits might be. Maybe some Mitt Romney lookalikes. Maybe some Clint Eastwood lookalikes. Maybe we'll get Billy Crystal to introduce each speaker. The bottom line is, I don't know where this will lead, only that it will cost taxpayers hard-earned money. And we have Clint Eastwood to blame for this. My fellow Americans, please don't think this is over. You've heard of rapper beefs in the hip-hop world. Mr. Eastwood just began a political beef. And I'm about to open up a can of whoop-ass on Dirty Harry. My name is Barack Obama, and I approve this message.